What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today is one of the last days of the season, and before the season ends, I wanted to try out Guzzlord one more time. We know in the new season, a lot of bugs are going to be very viable. Fury Cutter and Bug Bite both getting a huge buff makes it so dark types are going to be a little bit harder to use, so Guzzlord might have one final stand here today. Let's get into the battles and see what this Pokemon can do. Alright, here we go. We see our team Guzzlord as our lead into a Probopass. Are you joking me? First game of the day, and we see a Probopass of all things. Don't exactly know what to do here, saying I don't really have a great answer for this aside from my Clodsire. My Lapras in the backline as well would be taking super effective rock type damage, and Guzzlord doing a lot of resisted fast pressure. This is not ideal. Also, no debuff on that first Crunch there. If I did get a debuff, then potentially we would have been in a better spot. I guess Crunch as well is getting nerfed in the next season. Another reason why Guzzlord is going to be a little bit less viable, but I can get a second Crunch off, which should be able to put them deep into the red, making it so it's maybe a bit more manageable for my backline right now. Crunch does do a lot of damage, but I don't get another Dragon Tail. This is going to be such a hard farm down. I don't think Clodsire really can with Poison Sting, but they instantly swap out here to Blastoise and give me a little bit of hope. With that said, I don't actually catch a Hydro Cannon like I'm going for here, but we are still able to shield up a Skull Bash. I know Blastoise in and out. I know that after one Skull Bash, my Psywaves still do the same exact amount of damage. I can potentially go for a Skull Bash bait despite having Ice Beam as my coverage move here. Let's see if our opponent will shield or if at this point they're fine to let this go. Sparkling does draw their first shield. Very good bait by us here. It's not even a bait, right? We don't even have the big move. But I feel like at this point, I'm going to let this go. I can't go down two shields. I have no idea what's in the back line. I just have to hope that Clodsire might be able to have some play into it. In comes our next Sparkling Aria. Our opponent does let that go. And I think I have to go for a full-on Earthquake after two Skull Bash defense boosts. I don't think a Sludge Bomb would be quite enough here. We go for the nuke. They go for the shield, actually. Meaning maybe Clodsire does have play in the back line. Maybe they're a little bit scared of my Poison and Ground-type Pokemon. In comes a Hydro Cannon. A shield is obviously going to come up here and do like half of our HP. We are going to see their final Pokemon is a Serperior. They are one rollout away right now from another Hydro Cannon, which means I think we do have some play right now. Sludge Bomb does put them deep into the yellow, but I will have to throw a second charge attack to knock them out. But I think I'm outside of range where I get knocked out by a single Frenzy Plant as well as a Magnet Bomb from that Probopass. So I think very careful energy management can win me this match. We have back-to-back Sludge Bomb. Now our opponent is going to have to let this go down. They don't have any shields remaining. Sludge Bomb will knock out the Serperior. What is about to come in? If it's that Probopass, I need to build up to at least one before back-to-back Sludge Bombs to have any chance to be able to knock out that Blastoise before they reach a Hydro Cannon. In comes a Magnet Bomb. We do survive the move. These Rock Throws are adding up. In comes that Blastoise. So we see it. We have to throw instantly. And now if I can outpace this Probopass before they can reach another move to my Sludge Bomb, then we might actually knock out a Steel and Rock type with a Poison type move. In comes a Sludge Bomb, and I think this Probopass is about to go down. GG to our opponent. Very spicy team, but we were able to take it down. Alright, next game, Guzzlord into a Shadow Jumpluff. Not a great lead matchup. Once again, we know Fairy-type Fast Pressure does a lot against a Dark and Dragon-type. I Say-Swap my Lapras. We are met by one of the worst-case scenarios, a Jellicent. Now, this matchup is not ideal for Lapras, mainly because we only have resisted Charge Move pressure against them, although they also are taking a lot of Fast Pressure just with Psywave. So while this matchup isn't ideal, it is actually a little bit more playable than you might expect. Shadow Ball comes through, gets our first shield here. I know if I can shield Shadow Balls, that's a lot of energy down the drain for them, and we have already tripped them down below half HP, down nearly into the red after this Sparkling Aria. Our opponent likely will let this go at this point. They do no-shield the attack, and now Psywave is adding up even more. I can survive a Shadow Ball from this range, so I think just investing one shield might be able to either get a shield from them or flip this matchup. Our opponent is going to go for another move, but they're not able to reach it before my next Sparkling Aria. Psywave is going to add up, put them into range where this will knock them out, or draw the shield. I think I can actually go for a 2-shield farm down at this point, which might potentially be all we need to flip switch advantage in this game. Our opponent comes in with their own Lapras, and man, I'm just hoping at this point the Shadow Lapras is running Skull Bash instead of Ice Beam. I know Ice Beam would one-shot us from the Shadow. Skull Bash, though, I don't think that one-shots us here. We can survive, likely get 2 charge moves off. They do shield the Dragon Claw, likely because they're about to boost their defense stat with a very hard-hitting Skull Bash. It'll do a lot of damage, but with Psywave as their fast move, they cannot farm us down here. Guzzlord able to survive, go for a Dragon Claw right before the Sparkling Aria. This should put them down into the red, but they might be able to survive a lot of fast moves, which might be a little bit tricky for us to overcome. Dragon Tail's adding up so much, they overfarm as well to potentially reach another charge move against my backline. I don't know if we have any chance to win this game, but if we do, it's because Clodsire might have some play against your final Pokemon. Clodsire comes in. I think I have to go for a farm down here to have any sort of a shot to win this match. My energy is going to be important here on Clodsire. Sparkling does way over half of our HP from the Shadow Lapras, but we do get that farm down. What is about to come in? Our opponent thinking for a second here. They actually bring back in that Jellicent. I have to throw a move before they're able to get to another Surf. This should knock them out, but man, it needs to be something in the backline that we have planned too. We do have an Ice Beam loaded on our Lapras. Oh yeah, we saw this. It was a Jump Bluff in the lead, right? So good swap by me going into our Lapras, going for an Ice Beam, and just one-shotting them. Completely forgot about that post-commentary, but very good, well played, I guess, by us there. GG to our opponent. All right, next game is going to be a Golisopod in the lead. Honestly, not a bad lead matchup here, but in the next season, this thing's going to have access to Fury Cutter. Well, it already does, right? But it's going to have that Fury Cutter buff, likely meaning instead of Shadow Claw, which we resist, we're going to be taking a lot of super effective Fury Cutter damage. In this current season, we can take one charge, we go for a crunch and farm them all the way down before they reach a second charge attack. In the new season, this is just going to be a knocked out Guzzlord by now, right? Those Fury Cutters would have knocked us out way, way sooner, but luckily able to win here. And we see a Bastiodon come in to our Guzzlord. The thing is, I don't want to give him a farm down. I feel like at this point, potentially, Guzzlord has more play in the backline. I know Lapras, while it's not amazing at a Bastion, does have more play than you might expect because these Sidewaves actually add up a little bit over time, and Sparkling Aria is able to go for, I think, a 2-shot after Sidewave damage, but a 3-shot here in the 0s and 1s. Sparkling number 1 comes through. It is able to put them nearly into the yellow. Now with the extra fast food pressure, they are at below half HP, and comes yet another Sparkling Aria. Do they shield, or at this point, will they let their Bastion take yet another charge move? Sparkling comes through, gets them down into the red. Second move already going to be reached. Our opponent at this point has a big decision to make. Are they going to 2-shield their final Pokemon? No, they're going to invest a shield in the Basti, and then they come in with their final Pokemon. It's going to, unfortunately for us, be a Lapras, and man, Clodsire without Stone Edge here is going to struggle just a little bit. Now, I'm not running Stone Edge on my Clodsire, right? That is mainly because I love the Sludge Bomb coverage for opposing Fairy types. Fairy is one of the worst Pokemon typings that our Guzzlord could see, so having Sludge Bomb for the Azumarill for potential other Fairy types you might see, like Wigglytuffs, that is so much more helpful in my opinion. But in a matchup like this, man, I do wish I had Stone Edge. In comes another charge move. I do have an Earthquake here in just a second, though potentially there is still play for us. We have energy across the board, a little bit on our Lapras, a lot on our Guzzlord. In fact, I think we have a charge move already ready to go. Earthquake being thrown, it will put them down into the yellow, and I'm going to, I guess, catch a move on our Lapras. I wasn't necessarily trying to catch as much as I was trying to just get my move off here against them. We're able to potentially just barely reach the Sparkling Aria before getting farmed down. This should come close to knocking them out, but they still have a lot of energy, both on this Pokemon and on the Bastiodon. I'm going to come in with our Clodsire now. I think that is going to be the right play. I do have energy on my Guzzlord, but I don't want them to snipe me down with a Sparkling Aria. We come in with our Clodsire. They swap out to the Basti, and I go, once again, a Sludge Bomb against the Rock and Steel-type Pokemon. How much does this do? Does it even knock him out? Not what? Not even close. Like 4 damage. Great stuff from Clodsire here, but we force energy from them, which is all we need. Now I can farm down this Basti with my Guzzlord, go for a crunching this Lapras, and we should be able to win this game. We have the crunch loaded. GG here to our opponent. We throw on CMP. Lapras does not win CMP over Guzzlord, and we're able to win this game. Very close matchup there, but Guzzlord able to close it out. All right, next game, we're going to see Guzzlord as our lead into a Serperior, a little bit of a break of a lead. We've seen a lot of bad leads today, but this is probably our first good lead, and it seems like Guzzlord is doing a pretty good job of core breaking our opponent right now. In comes what is almost certainly going to be a crunch. I mean, they could have Sludge Bomb, but I don't even think they had the energy for that. I think they instantly threw the crunch. No debuff, which is very nice to see, and honestly, getting this Drapion out of the way for our backline is going to be very nice. In comes Dragon Claw. It does end up getting no shielded from our opponent here, and they have a very good Shadow Drapion. They hang on with 1 HP. They get off a second crunch, which will put us low into the red, but I think that's fine at this point. There's that Serperior that was in the lead, and Clodsire, as well as Lapras, have ways to hit it for super effective damage. Our opponent comes in with a Serperior of all things. Very interesting play. Crunch being thrown. It should put them deep into the yellow, or at least close to the yellow. Ah, man, I'm very off. It's not even into the yellow until after our fast food pressure, but we are able to put them to about 40% HP just with fast food pressure after that crunch debuff. In comes a Frenzy Plant, and I'm hoping that Clodsire and Lapras in the backline should have a good chance to win the game once that Drapion is gone. But our opponent having more Peko, a Pokemon that I think we all know this thing can be pretty tricky at times to deal with. It has access to Aura Wheel, it has access to Psychic Fangs as well, both of which are kind of tricky for our backline picks. We have Psychic Fangs, which is super effective into my Poison-type Pokemon, Aura Wheel, which after ramping up either Electric or the Dark-type damage would do a lot to Lapras, and these Thunder Shocks, while they don't do a lot to our Clodsire, are going to be so spammy to these charge moves. I'm going to go once again for a Sludge Bomb here, though. We are running Sludge Bomb for the pacing as well as the coverage, and because we do have a bit faster pacing with Sludge Bomb over Stone Edge, this should be able to make it so more Peko is not quite as big of a threat. In comes the Sludge Bomb. Our opponent does shield that up, and I would expect a catch here from them in just a second. They do go for the catch attempt, and I am a little bit sloppy here. I actually forget that I can catch one turn earlier because it's likely going to be an Aerial Ace, but I think we're still fine at this point. I can actually just farm down the Serperior with Lapras, go for either a Sparkling Aria or an Ice Beam against that Morpeko and still win this game, but a little bit of a misplay at the end. It's not going to matter though. We have CMP. We're able to shield this up, go for the Sparkling Aria, and take down this Morpeko. Lapras does not normally take care of the Electric-type Pokemon, but I think in this situation, it will just be enough GG to our opponent. All right, next game, we're going to see our Guzzlord up against a Pangoro. All right, bit of a core breaker, right? ABA weak to fighting type damage with this team, but I think the best thing about it is a lot of fighting types in the meta, unless you're using a Shadow Annihilate, don't actually have a lot of fighting type damage. Karate Chop, while it is going to be super effective into us, has not done as much damage as our Dragon Tails have done to them, so I'm fine just staying in here, neutralizing this pick so Lapras doesn't have to deal with it, but for a Dragon Claw as well, they kind of have to shield this up just because of how squishy this Pangoro is. They do shield that move up, and in comes yet another charge move. They baited us the first time with a Night Slash, likely a full send going to happen this time. They do go for the close combat, and we do properly shield it up. For some reason, they actually come in with a Grumpig into our Guzzlord. Not a bad spot to be in at all. We have Crunch ready to go. Maybe they no-shield, maybe they shield. It's up to them. They no-shield the move, so at this point, just come in with our Clodsire. I think there's a chance we can actually just fully farm down after landing that Crunch, and they will not get to 2 charge moves. In comes a Shadow Ball, and this will put us deep into the yellow at this point, but Psywave is not going to be quick enough to reach a second one before we get that full Poison Sting down. No idea what's in the backline right now. In comes that Pangoro. Actually, pretty happy to see that here. This Pokemon could have been tricky now that my shields are down for my Lapras, but because they bring it back in here, likely their final Pokemon does not want to take all the energy from my Clodsire. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a Shadow Typhlosion, a Pokemon that we all know is extremely squishy. Sludge Bomb gets a shield from them, and we can actually outpace them to a Dragon Claw before a Blast Burn will be reached. This is going to put them into farm down range either for my Guzzlord or potentially just for my Clodsire. Dragon Claw comes through, it puts them really, really low at this point, and they do throw a Thunder Punch or maybe a Blast Burn to knock us out, but Guzzlord has done so much work in this game, basically knocked out the entire team. Clodsire comes in, farms down Lapras, not even necessary to win that match. All right, next game, Guzzlord into Corviknight. Another one of these tricky leads. We've seen a lot of these today, but it is playable for Guzzlord. We know Corviknight is not the most how do I say this nicely? Not the most efficient Pokemon in the game. Sand Attack, while it is doing a bit of damage to us here, is not the quickest energy generation move in the game, and it is not going to put us into a range where we get one shot by a charge move. They need to get to 2 moves to knock us out here. We actually go for a CMP. That's an interesting play by them. Guess I should have overfarmed, but Sky Attack going to be thrown still very healthily in the yellow, and while we are doing resisted fast move pressure to them, we're able to do just about as much damage to them as they are to us. They actually tried to make a catch with our Dragon Claw onto a Unova Stunfisk, but since I don't really have a good answer to this once Guzzlord is out of the way, I'm just going to stay and go for 2 crunches here and see what we can do. Crunch number 1 being thrown, our opponent doesn't really want to shield the first crunch, right? They know that it could debuff them, so they do go for the no-shield, the second crunch being thrown very shortly after. Our opponent could shield this one. It depends on how much they value their Ufisk in this game. They actually just opt to let it go at this point, and I guess that's a smart play. They probably expect me to have something in the back line that would be good against this, but I mean, I kind of don't. I'm happy they no-shielded both those crunches, and now I think I can Psywave down all the way with our Lapras here. Corviknight has a little bit of energy as well as a shield advantage, but Lapras has energy on it as well. I think I can no-shield this move, overfarm just a little bit more, and hope that Clodsire plus Lapras in the back line can close out this endgame. Sky Attack comes through. Our opponent does do a decent amount of damage, but we can survive the next Sky Attack. We also can overfarm just a bit here, go for Sparkling Aria, knock out, or get a shield from this Corviknight, and see what's in the back. Not exactly the Pokemon I want to see. It's going to be a Shadow Diggersby here. This Pokemon by no means is a pick that our Clodsire wants to see. Honestly, Clodsire kind of pinned in this game. Its best matchup would have been against the Ufisk, and at that point, against the Ufisk, it would have been down energy. Using Poison Sting as a fast move against a ground type, not the best spot to be in. So this is going to be such an awkward game. They also get an attack drop with that Scorching Sands. What that means potentially is now my Psywaves, my Sparkling Arias are going to do a lot less damage. They can now no-shield that charge attack, and I'm going to try to catch a move here. They actually, man, that's a bit of a misplay by me, I guess, but also kind of by them. I would have been allowed to reach another Sparkling Aria there. They overfarmed a bit too much. Another debuff comes through. This is looking really bad for us now. They might be able to no-shield this Sludge Bomb because of the attack drop. 2 attack drops, meaning now Diggersby hangs on like 1 HP here. This is not looking great. In comes the charge move. I think a Scorching Sands at this point knocks us out. They're very close to the next attack here. If they can get the move before I Psywave them down, then those 2 debuffs bailed them out so much in this game. But I guess GG to our opponent. Sometimes you lose games to debuffs, and that was, in fact, one of them. All right, next game, Guzzlord into Shadow Kanto Marowak. A pretty neutral lead matchup, actually. and I'm pretty happy to see it here. Our Clodsire in the backline, pretty weak to ground type damage, so if I can get rid of a Mudslapper in the lead, I'm always pretty happy about that. In comes a Bone Club, and I know Guzzlord at this point, if I do take a charge move, is in farm down range so easily, so I don't want to let that first one go. I'll go for a Crunch on CMP to try to snipe them down. They might expect either a Brutal Swing or a Dragon Claw. I think a Crunch does knock them out. The other two, they could survive. Our opponent, though, they do respect the Crunch possibility. They shield the attack up here, and now I'm going to shield once again, go for more Dragon Claw and Dragon Tail damage, and try to whittle down this Marowak, so it's not quite as big of a concern for our backline. Not quite able to Dragon Tail them down. If we got a Crunch debuff, that would have been nice, but luck does not normally go in my favor, it seems. Dragon Claw coming through, it does knock out the Marowak, and what is about to come in? It's actually made a Clodsire of all things. This Pokemon is a little tricky to see here. If it's on Stone Edge especially, the shield and energy lead could be bad for our backline. Crunch will come through, get a defense drop. Okay, I guess just had to complain a little bit. But with that said, they can clear their debuff coming in with this Cradilly. And now I'm going to hope that our Lapras in the backline is going to be good enough to neutralize this pick. Ice Beam being shielded, I guess I should have gone for a bait here. I know they like to get debuffs off, but a lot of Lapras don't actually run Ice Beam in this day and age, so I was hoping they might end up calling a bait there. In comes another move likely from them. No, they actually overfarm past the 4. They might have thought I was one turn ahead of where I was. Luckily, though, because of their overfarm, I land the Ice Beam, put them deep into the red, and at this point, I think we have a pretty good chance of winning this game. I just have to hope at this point that that Clodsire is, in fact, in Earthquake range, because Poison Sting against an opposing Poison and Ground-type Pokemon not going to do a lot of Fasting Pressure, and I know that they have another move ready on this Cradilly. I'm going to come with Clodsire here. Our opponent instantly actually just swaps out, though, to their own Clodsire. They throw the Earthquake. Let's see how much damage this is going to do. I know you two-shot with Earthquake, but it's going to be so close if I can two-shot them or knock them out from this range. We'll see if they're chipped down just enough. If they aren't, I think I can actually go for a Dragon Tail down, though, with our Guzzlord, which at this point would be enough. They survive on 1 HP. We swap out Dragon Tail down. Cradilly has energy on it, but they don't have back-to-back charge moves. Even if they did, a single Grass Knot does not knock out our Clodsire. We're able to just go for the Poison Sting down and take the win here in this match. Clodsire a little bit too bulky for them. GG to our opponent. All right, next game, Guzzlord Mirror Match. Actually a bit of an interesting Pokemon to see. I don't have a great counter for this, so probably a good thing to see it in the lead. Instantly going for a Dragon Claw. Our opponent actually overfarmed here too. I know there's a play you can make in this Mirror Match where you actually don't throw energy. If your opponent throws energy, you can just do this. You do a 1-shield farm down, which is a very smart play. Now they have 9 Dragon Tails of energy, which means they are 1 away from back-to-back crunch. I don't have a lot of Fasting Pressure here to snipe them down, so they actually can get 2 moves off. They get the defense drop against our Clodsire to do even more damage to us. Fantastic news for us right now. Crunch putting us now deep into the yellow, nearly into the red with that extra Dragon Tail landing. This is not looking ideal. I'm going to go for the Earthquake instantly. I know at this point Gastrodon is not the best Pokemon for our backline to see, but if I can land this Earthquake, it's going to be a lot more manageable for our Lapras. Our opponent goes instantly for a Body Slam. That means they are desperate to get damage against us, but I can't shield. I have no idea what's in the backline. Body Slam is such a bad move, and here it is. The final Pokemon is going to be a Toxapex. At this point, this is one of those games, having Skull Bash would be really helpful. I know Skull Bash would both boost my defense stat, as well as have neutral damage against them. They no-shield the potential bait, and since I don't actually have to move, no real reason to keep on farming up. Might as well throw the energy here, but I also know I do need to keep some energy on my Lapras at all times, just in case that Gastrodon does come back in. Likely going to be a Brine coming through here, but I can't risk it. I know at this point, even a Brine would put us into farm down range. They actually full send the Sludge Wave. I guess at this point, they likely do get farmed down before they get to 3 Brines either way. But at this point, it's going to be down to the wire if I have enough HP remaining on our Lapras to win this match. We have a Sparkling Aria ready to go against this Gastrodon. This first one will end up getting the shield almost certainly. The second one hopefully going to knock them out and make it so I have enough HP to farm them down with our Lapras. In comes the Sparkling Aria. Our opponent, no shields remaining. Gastrodon goes down. I have a bit of HP on Lapras here. We're able to Psywave down and take the win against the Toxapex. Very close game there into the Guzzlord Mirror Match. All right, next matchup, another Dragon type in the lead. This time, a Shadow Dragonite, a Pokemon that, once again, is not the worst-case scenario for our lead to see. Our Fasting Pressure does so much damage. Our opponent going for the Overfarm, not a CMP. Bit of a risky CMP if they wanted to go for it. And now another Dragon Tail lands, puts them deep into the red. Guzzlord has done its job. It's whittled down the Shadow Dragonite deep into the red. And at this point, I'm pretty sure that we can farm down with either a Clodsire or our Lapras. I'm going to bring in Lapras. Our opponent instantly swaps to their own Lapras, and I mean, at this point, they might be on Skull Bash, they might be on the same moveset I'm running, but I'm going to at least bait the fact that I might be on Skull Bash here myself. Let's see if they want to invest a second shield, or if at this point, they'll let it go. They do let the move through. I CMP'd on a potential Skull Bash here, meaning this is likely actually going to be the full send. Yeah, they're going to boost the defense stat with that charge move, and that's not ideal. I know that because they actually do have the full nuke move and I don't, our Lapras is always going to be behind in this matchup. Sparkling Aria number 2 being thrown. Our opponent does no shield at this point, realizing that I probably don't have the nuke. I would have full sent on that first attack if I did have it, and I'm going to double shield my Lapras, hoping that Lapras in the backline has some play. Our opponent does throw that second Skull Bash, so a lot of energy down the drain for them. I'm going to get literally 100 energy, throw the Sparkling Aria into this Pokemon. This should knock him out at this point, even with those 2 defense boosts, and in the backline going to be a Diggersby. I have to avoid catches this game, and potentially I have to avoid debuffs as well. And we know my luck with that has not been ideal here recently, so we're going to go for the Sparkling Aria, try our very best to land this damage against them. This is going to come through. It does put them deep into the yellow. Our opponent now throwing a charge move to knock out our Lapras. Now, if we get a debuff on a Scorching Sands here against our Clodsire, this game might be a loss, or if a catch happens. Either way, we need to avoid the debuff. That is our first and main lose condition that I'm worried about. Clodsire can knock out from this range with an Earthquake, but the 30% chance to debuff us ends up happening. Who would have thought? You know, great stuff. I cannot catch a break for the life of me. Still throw the Earthquake, see what we can do here, but man, I think this is going to survive on just a little bit of HP. They survive, they get another move off, and it's looking like a loss. In comes the Scorching Sands, and they can farm us down with Dragonite with the quick attacks. GG to our opponent there. Once again, a loss due to a Scorching Sands coin flip. All right, well, next game, not a great lead once again. A Carbink, a little bit ABA weak to rock type damage. Well, not necessarily rock type, but like a fairy rock is really bad for us to see. Interesting play from our opponent here, though. They did a lot of fast food pressure with that Carbink, but they absorb energy on a Shadow Feraligatr of all things. I think we all know Shadow Feraligatr is not well known for its bulk. I think there's a chance that we can flip switch advantage right now. Hydro Cannon being shielded. I have so much of an energy lead, though, that I can still just outpace this Feraligatr to 2 charge moves before they can even land a single one against us. In comes that first Sparkling, and they do end up going for the no shield. I think they did shield a potential Skull Bash bait on the first one. They have 1 shield remaining. Do they shield? They shield their Feraligatr once again. And the thing is, I have one of the best counters in the entire game to a Carbink with a Clodsire. So I know at all costs right now, I want to win switch. Go for the double shield. I might even get a full farm down here. Lapras able to Psywave down the Feraligatr, and maybe even throw a move against the Carbink if it does come back in. They're waiting for a second here. What is going to come in against us? They bring in, Carbink actually, which means this is going to do a lot of damage. Might have even been a CMP, which means a lot of energy down the drain for our opponent. Yeah, they have played this game out a little bit less efficiently than they probably would have liked. At this point, all the energy is down the drain for the Carbink. They make a nice undercharge, but they only get 1 rock throw for their effort. Clodsire comes in. Our opponent staying in for a second here. They bring in a Talonflame, a Pokemon that our Guzzlord has a lot of play into, and because of our Lapras flipping switch advantage, we're able to very confidently win this game. GG there to our opponent. Yeah, Guzzlord, a bit of a risky Pokemon at times in this meta. I know it's going to be a Pokemon weak to the Fairy types, and a lot of polarizing matchups. There's also a lot of teams out there that it has so much play into. It's able to use a lot of its Fast and Pressure, as well as Crunch and Dragon Claw to chip down a lot of the common Pokemon in the meta, and Lapras and Clodsire in the backline able to round out the team. So once again, if you're on a last-minute Legend push, this team could definitely work out for you, especially if you're not seeing a ton of Tinkaton in your elo. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed the battles and you want to see more content like this on the channel in the future, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps the channel a ton, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.